Right, it's 4 days since the transfer window reopened for business, and already Liverpool have been making moves. Winger Victor Muñoz has completed his medical ahead of a proposed move to Merseyside. Dharma Chef has a move towards me, which is lovely. Thanks for coming in. What are the details of the deal? Looking very serious there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Listen, Antonio Iraola only got appointed 2 weeks ago, and they've already on the verge of making his first signing as the Liverpool head coach. Liverpool have triggered the £34.5 million release clause in the contract of the Osasuna winger Victor Muñoz. They'll pay the fee in 2 instalments and he'll sign a 6-year contract. Now, we do know that the problems associated and the difficulty associated with completing a deal while a World Cup is on. But the Spanish Football Federation gave Muñoz the permission to complete the formalities of this contract and this transfer. And once Liverpool knew about that, they really accelerated this deal. They sent staff to the US to conduct his medical, and he's now completed his medical. It's effectively now at the point where we're just waiting for an official announcement from Liverpool that Victor Muñoz is indeed a Liverpool player.
Is this a case of deja vu, shall we say, for Newcastle in terms of Liverpool in particular?
The worst case of deja vu. If you go back to last summer, Newcastle United thought they'd sorted out that deal for Hugo Ekitike, only for Liverpool to nip in and sign the French international. And then, of course, Newcastle actually lost Alexander Isak to Liverpool as well. There are a lot of similarities with what's happened with Victor Muñoz, because once again, Newcastle United thought they'd sorted out this deal. £29 million initial payment, £4.3 million in performance-related add-ons. That was all agreed between the clubs. The personal terms were agreed with the player. The player wanted to come. The agent's fees were all sorted out. But over the last 24 hours, the players' representatives, while Newcastle United were trying to set the wheels in motion to sort out a medical, the players' representatives said, just hold fire on that for the moment. And the reason that they had to hold fire on it was because I think when we use transfer window parlance, Liverpool hijacked the deal.
Gazumped.
Yes, that's another way of putting it as well. Newcastle United, no doubt now, are, well, licking their wounds back at St James's Park. The recruitment teams, the sporting directors, I'm sure, will all be having a meeting right now, not only to find out what went wrong and why this deal didn't get completed, but also what targets they're going to go for now on alternatives to Victor Muñoz. Yeah,
I mean, on a serious level, it must be incredibly disappointing for Newcastle to have that happen to them again. What about Liverpool then? Let's go back to them. Any more wingers?
Well, I think from the outset of this transfer window, I think it wasn't just one winger that Liverpool wanted to bring in, because remember, they've got a Mohamed Salah-sized hole in that squad. And, you know, maybe not over last season, but over the piece. What he did for Liverpool is going to be very, very hard to replace. The one name that will not go away, but it's not just Liverpool, is Yan Diomande, the RB Leipzig winger. Ivory Coast international, impressed, didn't he, in the World Cup opener against Ecuador. But 19 years old, a lot of European football's top clubs are interested in Diomande. That's what would make this deal very, very difficult to do. The other thing that would make it difficult is that RB Leipzig do not want to sell. And in fact, they are in the process of trying to tie him down to a new longer-term contract. But if they were to sell, and it's a big if, I think the valuation for Diomande is upwards of £86 million. So there are a few obstacles in the way, but make no mistake about it, Liverpool do have an interest in the player. And if there is an opportunity to try and sign him, I think they will try and take it.
OK, yeah, like you say, there are lots of people looking at him, though, isn't there? What about Arsenal, then? Is this going to be a busy window for them, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so. I think a comparison can be made between what happened last summer and what is potentially going to happen this summer for Arsenal. If you go back to last summer, they spent £250 million on transfers. You could actually call that £300 million because the Piero Hincapié deal was a loan with an obligation to buy for around £45 million, which will get triggered at some point if it hasn't been already. But what was interesting about their summer spend last summer was that they kept their existing squad together. There weren't very many departures at all at Arsenal. This summer, I think we're going to see a different approach in that they still want to be involved in trying to sign some of European football's biggest names. We know Morgan Rogers is a big target of theirs. Bouadi, who impressed so much for Morocco against Brazil, he's one of a number of midfielders that they're looking at. But I think this time there will be departures at Arsenal as well. And I've been told that there could be a key player departing, and make of that what you will. I think the names we need to kind of look at. Ben White is a player that we need to keep an eye on, whether he will stay at Arsenal or not, because there is interest in Ben White. If you look at the forward line, if they're trying to improve that forward line, I don't think the players that are there are going to be able to be retained, all of them anyway. If you look at Gabriel Jesus, he's got a year left on his contract. He's not getting much first-team action. His game time has been limited. I think Arsenal would look at offers of between 18 to 20 million pounds in this transfer window for Jesus. Gabriel Martinelli has got a year left on his contract, albeit Arsenal do have a year option on that. However, his game time was limited. Leandro Trossard was preferred in that position more often than not. And Leandro Trossard himself, he's going to turn 32 in December, and he's into the final year of his contract. Would Arsenal consider offers for him if a good enough offer was to come in? Then you look at Christian Norgard, came from Brentford. He's only started one Premier League game. Will he be available for transfer? And the other interesting one is a player who only signed a new contract at the club less than a year ago in Ethan Nwaneri. But he spent the second half of last season on loan at Marseille. He's going to find his game time potentially limited as well, because he's behind Bukayo Saka and Noni Madueke. They're both England internationals and both at the World Cup. So I think it can be an interesting transfer window for Arsenal. They do want to bring players in. They do want to build on what they did last season. They won the title. Mikel Arteta says he needs to reinvent himself, and he wants to get players in quickly and efficiently. And what Arsenal's approach has always been, they will try and get all their ducks in a row. They will try and sort out deals for 4 players in one position, say, for example. And then once all those deals are agreed, they'll say, we'll go for that one. And it's worked well for them last summer. Let's see if it goes the same way this time.
Looking forward to seeing the reinvention of Mikel Arteta. What will that bring, I wonder?